Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And you know we love to come and bring you updates from things that are happening in our community, especially as it relates to our energy and what we do and can take care of for our energy in the whole world. And the best person to talk to about that, Chett Chaisson, Executive Director down at Port Fourchon. Chett, thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks for having me again, Keith.
All right. Listen, I know one of those things where we're so very fortunate to have some of the people come on and talk about some of the events that we're so very glad to have down there. Port Fourchon has really stepped up to make these events so much better. Tell us a little bit about some of these tournaments and how those have gone.
Right. Well, let's start with the most historical one that we have in Port Fourchon, the Golden Medal Fourchon Tarpon Rodeo that takes place every year during the 4th of July weekend. And then, they had a very successful fishing rodeo, a lot of fun, a lot of food, a lot of music, a lot of family, right? And really just enhanced the capability of us having these great events in our community down in Port Fourchon with the new pavilion that we built. We talked about that in the past shows, and really, all came to being this year and utilized for, as part of our coastal wetlands park. In that middle picture, you can see on the bottom right, that's the new pavilion, and all those rodeos took place there and were successful. So we had the Golden Medal Fourchon Tarpon Rodeo, and a couple of weeks later, we had the Fourchon Oilmen's Association Rodeo, and then a couple of weeks after that was the South Lafourche Hooks and Leaders Cheerleader Fundraising Rodeo. And all three were very successful, and really the first two in Golden Medal Fourchon Tarpon Rodeo and the Fourchon Oilmen's brings people together and raises money mainly for scholarships for our local students. And we're very proud to be a part of that.
Look, I got to tell you, it's one of those things down in the port where you just kind of look at your situation and go, okay, how do we make this better? How do we make things easier? And that's what you did. And the other thing is kind of funny. You mentioned the food, family, and fun, and there was some really good fishing too. And so each of those tournaments, there was some really good weekends for fishing. And so just, one of the greatest things that we have down here that kind of brings people together and just the excitement of seeing those weigh-ins, right? Seeing the kids and and I love the fact that you brought up the family perspective about it, because you can have a whole lot of fun when your families are involved and all of these kid categories that they had and just the excitement of some of those. I mean, y'all got family members that win every year, it seems.
Yeah, and to do that and to see the kids' faces and the adults' faces when they win an award and bring in a big fish and all those things, it's just priceless. And to be able to be a part of that, and for the Port Commission, to be able to be a part of that and help in attracting people here to enjoy our way of life and what our heritage and our culture means to us, while at the same time playing a key role in providing energy to our nation. It just really, we're proud to be a part of that and humbled by all the success that these events have, for sure. And I have to tell you, it's going to be a family affair next year. The Golden Medal Fourchon Tarpon Rodeo of 2024. Proud to say that my brother, Dr. Darby Chaisson, will be the admiral of that rodeo. So we'll be having a good time for sure next year again.
Look, awfully exciting. I can tell you, since we had them come on and have that discussion about who was able to do that with Christine this year and what they were able to do and the excitement for them and their family. But again, it's just a way to find what do we need to do to continue to bring people together. And we could talk about it on these shows, but it's when the people go down there and you and I can walk around and look at their faces and see how much joy that is. And it's just a way to bring people together. It's what this South Louisiana living is all about.
Right. And it really shows how, we like to talk about our whole mindset of how industry and environment work together in the community, and it benefits the community. And that's really what this is all playing out to show is that industry and environment can and do work very well together. You can have all these habitats. You can go fishing and have fishing rodeos, bring the family and enjoy it all in one location. And I think that's who we are, right? It's us showing who we are, that we're not an either or society. We can have our cake and eat it too, and we're very proud of that fact.
Yeah, and it's about integration. It's about identifying and figuring out. Look, there are certain things that we know we want to do, right? We want to have fun. We want to bring family together. We want to make sure we want to go fishing. But if we can find a way to have an environment, and I love the insight to be able to say, you know what? We need a pavilion to do this and do it right. And just the fact that y'all have the vision of being able to do that and then make it happen. And again, you can see in this picture, thank you, Jason, down here again, some of the restoration that's going on with all of the slips there and all of the extra work that's being done. The pavilion is there, bottom right, that middle picture, bottom right, that huge pavilion that is able to bring in a lot of people and have a wonderful event that people can come and explore, lots of good parking for it. And so just a wonderful time for people to do that. And these fishing rodeos, again, the money being raised is given back to the community. That's what's so exciting about it. We're having people come in and this money's not going somewhere else. It's going to the people in the community. And that's where the vision of what to do and how to make it better is so exciting because we're giving it back to those people that need it in the community, right?
For those of you that don't know, Lafourche Parish is a mid-sized suburban parish in southeast Louisiana, and we end at the Gulf of Mexico. More importantly, Lafourche Parish is the home of Port Fourchon, the nation's premier energy port that services 100% of the deepwater oil and gas activity in the Gulf of Mexico. That means everything that goes offshore, food, water, mud, and other essential mechanical items all comes through Lafourche Parish and Port Fourchon. Some of you in the subcommittee have seen this industry firsthand thanks to Majority Leader Scalise's energy tour with stops on active platforms and Port Fourchon that show how energy and the environment can work together. This critical U.S. port represents $458 million in household earnings to the Lafourche MSA, $243 million in household earnings to the state, and $1.1 billion in household earnings to the United States economy. Economic numbers are hard to visualize, but offshore energy supports our entire community and much of the nation, including support for essential power to keep the lights on here in our nation's capital. The trickle-down effect in our local economy and communities like ours all across America. Our offshore energy sustains local grocery stores like Rouse's Supermarkets and restaurants like Grady V's or the Cajun Twist, and small businesses and many more. The same story can be shared in small towns all across the nation, all because we are maintaining the offshore industry. And the offshore industry is not just oil and gas, but also offshore wind and offshore carbon capture. Louisiana is set to service and provide manpower and expertise to help diversify American energy industry. For Lafourche Parish, it's critical that we have a robust offshore energy industry to help support our community.
Listen, I'm not sure. And again, Archie spent a lot of time thinking about and putting that together as he goes and gets a chance to spend time in Washington, letting them know about the value of the port. And listen, you know it. It's just one of those things. It's nice to be able to see that partnership with our Lafourche Parish president as he goes out and really kind of stands up for what's important for the port and what it does.
Yeah, Keith, like I've said this before on the show, and I can't say it enough. The agencies, the leaders of the agencies in Lafourche Parish currently, and quite honestly, the region, but let's focus on Lafourche Parish, work very well together. We're all friends. We all talk regularly, and we're all moving in the same direction. When you can have that, you can be unstoppable. Mm-hmm. And just from our standpoint and from the Port Commission standpoint, having our parish president know that data like the back of his hand, just like we do, and it not having to come out of our mouths, but coming out of our other leaders in our community's mouth. It just means the world to us as an organization, but it means that everything we've been doing, everything we've been saying is reaching the people that it needs to reach. And look, I can tell you just the day before, our Governor John Bell Edwards, was testifying at a Senate committee hearing about resilient infrastructure. And he talked about the LA1 project and Port Fourchon. So again, just thinking about that fact, when's the last time we had a governor that just, at the snap of fingers could give you statistics and talk about what's going on in this community on that stage in Washington, D.C. So we're proud of the fact that we seem to be doing things right in the right way. We've had a lot of help with it. Okay.
Right.
It's not just this organization that can get projects and things done. It is a family of people getting together from the local level all the way up to the national level, working together to get things done. And we've been able to accomplish that over the years and build our credibility in getting things done when we say we can and we will.
Well, and the other thing is, it's very obvious. Those numbers don't lie, right? And so being able, and I love it in as much as John Bell Edwards, our governor, Archie Chaisson, the Lafourche Parish president, they can really just articulate those things very easily because they know. And that's because of that family-oriented perspective of letting our local leaders know this is what we're doing, and this is how we're doing it well. And it's okay to say that. You know, I know we use the H word all the time about being humble, but I will tell you, it's remarkable about the things that have been being accomplished through the port with those partnerships. And people probably get tired of hearing me use the word partnerships, but they make a huge difference for us getting things done. And again, it's just so very nice to see, like you said, the local leaders, not only do they understand it, but they know it. It's some things that they know. And y'all are really good about being able to share that and being able to get that information out. It's nice to have somebody kind of have your back, right?
That's correct. And absolutely. It's really good to have others have your back, and it's not just coming from you all the time. And I can tell you from a regional perspective, our state delegation, over the folks over in Terrebonne, with all the great work that they've done for Terrebonne Parish in that area, they get the connection between Lafourche and Terrebonne. You know, for years when we were growing up, it was such a fight and a battle, and those lines were clear, right? Now they're a little meshed, right? We're working together. We understand how we impact each other.
And listen, one of those things is, I can tell you, I love the fact that you don't know when you leave Lafourche and you enter Terrebonne unless you're looking at a sign, because that's how well they work together.
The most recently was announced just yesterday that we're getting $7.1 million from FEMA as part of Hurricane Zeta damages and the settlement we've had with FEMA. We had about $12 million of claims for Hurricane Zeta damages to public facilities in and around Port Fourchon and the South Lafourche Airport, but mainly in Port Fourchon. And we had for all this time since Hurricane Zeta kind of not been able to get things obligated, but we were able to finally work out an agreement with FEMA to get $7.1 million of that $12 million claim. And what we're going to do is we're going to utilize that $7.1 million to do a large beach repair project in about a mile-long section of beach along Fourchon Island on the Gulf of Mexico, where if you've been down there, where you used to be able to access, we don't have a bridge to get there anymore.
Right.
That's coming. We're in the planning stages of that. Should have a permit to move forward on that at some point early next year.
Right.
But where the breakwaters are, and that used to be the old Boudin bag. Now it's a geotube project that creates that beachhead and keeps that line in the sand. No pun intended. There. So we're going to use that $7.1 million and put it together with $2 million from the Port Commission, $2 million from the CPRA, Coastal Protection Restoration Authority, and $2 million from the parish government through their Go Mesa dollars that they receive, as well as another $4 million from Hurricane Ida damages. So we have basically just over $17 million.
Yeah. Wow.
Right, to do a large-scale, all-encompassing project to protect that mile-long section of beachhead on Fourchon Island in the port, and that goes a long way for us to continue to, protect ourselves. We're not inside of a levee system, right? So we're at the mercy of Mother Nature. Right. So every speed bump we can put in its way helps us for the future.
Yeah, and again, some of those projects, I don't know that people always understand. It's all about protecting the port. It's protecting the beach, it's protecting Port Fourchon, but it's all about the protection. We need several layers of that because, like you said, we don't have a 15 to 20-foot protection levee around us like we're so very fortunate to have with Merganza to the Gulf and so many other areas. So that is so very necessary to be able to use those funds for that. And I love that we're able to get that $7.1 million and the other $10 million from the other entities and the other agencies partnering together. Again, there's that word. That's how we get things done, right?
That's correct. And it also, it means something for the beachhead and that habitat and all of those things. It also means something for energy because behind a section of that mile-long beach that we're going to be, working on, there's, over 1 million barrels of oil that crosses through that area through pipelines. So that is a major junction point for a lot of these major pipelines that provide this country with that energy that is being produced offshore. So again, it's critical as we move forward to do all the things we need to do to protect ourselves. And this is one project that is going to play a role in it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I love the fact that we can really share with people what the money is, where the money comes from, what it's being used for, and the value in that. Because quite frankly, I think that's what the answer is very often. What is the value in that? Well, there's huge value to our community, to the state, to the nation, to the world about the volume that comes through the port. As Archie was sharing earlier. Go ahead.
Correct. And look, when you're dealing with the public's money, that's a big responsibility. And we take that very seriously, and we have to do everything we can in the proper way to spend that money wisely and do what we need to do to protect that economic engine of Port Fourchon and all of the assets that are around it. So again, we take that very seriously, and this type of project is just another step in showing that what we can do.
Yeah. We got about a minute left, Chett. Any other updates that you would care to kind of share with us that you're excited about, maybe finishing some of the things, buildings and stuff?
Yeah, so we're still completing. All of our buildings are complete. Thank goodness. We have one hangar at the airport that we need to get fixed, and we're going to be moving that forward. And we're finalizing the Nervicon's commercial fishermen's marina wharves. So that'll be utilized for the rest of the year in the next month or so. So we're very excited about finishing up some of these repair projects.
And so nice when the weather gets a little bit cooler, when it's not 115 to 120 degrees, with the real feel that people can get out there and really enjoy those things. And so again, all of the work, all of the effort that's being done at the port and all the partnerships that make these things happen, we appreciate it very, very much. The port's so very important to all of us. And so we thank you for your time and the updates and all the work that's being done.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us and allowing us to tell you about what's going on here.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Chett. You take care.
You too.
All right. And that will do it for us right here on Bayou Time. Thank you so much for joining us. A whole lot more local programming right here on HTV.